This is breaking news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jen Ah, coming to you from the Review-Journal studio. The polls are closed and the counting begins for Nevada's primary election, which will determine the final lineup for the general election coming up in November. Our crews are out across the Las Vegas Valley. Now, one of the big races we've been following for you is the U.S. Senate race. And breaking tonight, the Associated Press calls the primary winners. That former AG Adam Laxalt is the Republican primary winner, most likely to challenge Democratic incumbent Cortez-Masto in the November election. He has an overwhelming lead over his Republican rivals with over 50% of votes. Laxalt is backed by former President Donald Trump and also raised the most money, $5.8 million, according to the Federal Election Commission. The AP estimates about 57% of votes have been counted in this race. Then a look at the governor's race and who'll most likely face up against Governor Steve Sisolak. Republicans are mostly campaigning on Sisolak's response to the pandemic, temporarily closing businesses, adding occupancy caps, and mask mandates. The frontrunner is consistently Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo with more than 40% of votes right now, while 57% of votes are estimated to have been counted. And it looks like Lombardo and his campaign team is calling this already a win, holding a press conference on these results and not wasting any time to call out Governor Steve Sisolak.
I will never wait for politicians in Washington, D.C. or for the governor of California to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I'll always put the best interests of Nevada's first. Frankly, it is long overdue.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Lombardo became nationally known after the October 1 mass shooting and is also backed by Trump. Closer to home, the current Clark County Sheriff is running for governor, so who'll take his place? In the lead is Kevin McMahill, the former Clark County undersheriff, capturing the lead at around 60%. This is expected with McMahill being backed by Lombardo himself. Now let's check in with Review-Journal's political expert Steve Sisolak to weigh in on these preliminary results, which are as experts have been predicting. Steve, so far we're not seeing any upsets.
We'll start with the race for the United States Senate. That's where Adam Laxalt has defeated Sam Brown. People thought Sam Brown would be a tougher than usual challenger because he raised a lot of money, more so than somebody who was a relatively political unknown in Nevada was expected to raise. But with Laxalt's victory, he'll now face Cortez-Masto in the general election. It's going to be a tough race for both of them. Cortez-Masto seeking re-election for the first time. It's always the most vulnerable time for any federal incumbent, congresswoman or senator. Adam Laxalt, having won the Attorney General's race in a very good Republican year in 2014, is now going to have to contend with the political environment here. It probably will favor Republicans, but we'll see how Laxalt does in his latest statewide matchup. 2018, losing to Governor Sisolak. That was not a very good year for Republicans. This year is probably going to be a lot better. So that's going to be a close race, I think, no matter who wins. Moving now to the governor's race, Joe Lombardo looks like he's going to be the nominee. He is going to be facing off with Governor Steve Sisolak. That, again, is going to be an extremely close race. Governor Sisolak is very vulnerable. He's running for a second term for re-election. Governor Sisolak has a long record to defend, and that includes all the things that happened during the pandemic, the mask mandate, the business shutdowns, all of those things he is going to have to defend on his record. Joe Lombardo, on the other hand, doesn't have that baggage that he's going to have to worry about. He's going to be talking about a fresh change, going to be talking about lower taxes, opposing all tax increases. He's already said that on the campaign trail. And he has the endorsement of Donald Trump. Now, that became important in the primary, but I don't think we're going to hear as much about it in the general election as he's trying to woo Democratic voters and independent voters as well.
Again, that was Steve Sisolak. And earlier this afternoon, our reporter James Schaefer was out at multiple polling locations, talking to voters directly.
It took about 5 minutes.
And did you pre-prepare before coming in? Is that why it was so easy?
I did. Yeah, we had everything filled out, so I already knew who I was going to vote for.
And was there a specific candidate that energized you to come out and vote today?
There was a few, but mostly for the justice of the peace.
These voters talked about which candidates brought them out to the polls and how the whole in-person voting process went for them.
I came out to vote for Joey Gilbert.
And what about Joey Gilbert made it so that you needed to come out and vote today?
Just from the way he's talked about other different candidates and his stance on, it's kind of weird, but like some of the stuff, like basically I didn't want to vote for Joe Lombardo. And so Joey Gilbert was like the best choice for me for that.
So far, we've received no reports of any issues at the polls today. You can expect more updates periodically throughout the night and in the coming days with additional mail-in ballots being counted. On our election primary results page, you can see which candidates are in the lead and if there are any changes or upsets. Just go to lvrj.com. Go to the left-hand corner for the menu to find it. The primary election's final results are scheduled to be released on June 24th. Thanks for joining us on this quick, need-to-know coverage of the Nevada primaries. A big thanks to our Review Journal crews working around the clock, along with the poll workers counting all those ballots, and of course, to you voters out there for voting. We'll see you again bright and early tomorrow morning for 7 at 7.
You've been watching breaking news from the Las Vegas Review Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.